Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Ricky Hatton gave an interview with Action Network. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it's obviously a network with some action in it, perhaps, including boxing. And he was asked about Tyson Fury and the upcoming fight with Usyk, and also the prospect of Fury eventually, finally fighting Joshua. And Ricky, who I think is on good terms with Tyson, he said it depends on their next performances. Tyson didn't look great against Oleksandr Usyk. Don't get me wrong, it was a good fight. I'm being a little bit unfair there because fighters like Usyk only come along every now and again. He's exceptional. No argument there. But he, meaning Tyson, wasn't great against Francis Ngannou. I think he would agree with me on that one. Yeah, probably would, yeah. And then Ricky carries on to say, we're all starting to think, has Tyson got too many miles on the clock now? It seems to be the case after the last couple of fights. Bear in mind, Fury's now 36 as well. So Ricky also said, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in this one, meaning the Usyk rematch. But I don't see the fight, which is the Joshua fight, happening. I think we've lost our chance, and it was criminal it didn't happen a few years ago when they were both in their prime. That's a fair comment, I suppose. I think Anthony Joshua beats Daniel Dubois, and Tyson Fury has a good chance of beating Oleksandr Usyk if he tweaks a few little things. So it is capable of happening, but I just hope we haven't lost our chance. That's the biggest fight in boxing, and certainly British boxing history. Yeah, I mean, there's very little to disagree with Ricky there. He also added, if somehow Daniel Dubois winds up winning or Tyson doesn't win and they don't end up fighting each other, then I think boxing is fucked up. It's heavyweight boxing, and the apple cart can get upset with one punch. And then there's rematch clauses. Yeah, that's a good point about that, rematch clauses. Sometimes the fights that we want don't seem to happen, but Tyson has a good chance of beating Usyk, and I fancy AJ to come through the Dubois fight. But I'm more confident of Joshua winning his next fight rather than Tyson. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Fury will start as the underdog with Usyk in the rematch, and AJ would probably be the favourite against Dubois. Yeah. So Ricky says it would be criminal if that fight doesn't happen, meaning Fury Joshua. Let's have our fingers crossed as boxing fans. Yeah, I mean, what he's basically saying is it's past its sell-by date, and I think that's actually a reasonable assessment. I mean, let's say they both did win. Let's say Fury did beat Usyk and AJ did beat Dubois. Yes, it's kind of now or never. I mean, even another year, certainly another 2 years, they're both going to be, well, certainly Fury will be past his best, and Joshua will probably be, when I say over the hill, over the peak, and over the hill entirely, but over the peak. And yeah, it should have happened years ago, shouldn't it? But, so, you know, Ricky Hatton, not particularly optimistic, and I think he's a straight talker. He is friends with Tyson, but again, I don't really see, he hasn't said anything controversial. I think he's basically said what a lot of us have felt for some time now. Historically, why wasn't that fight made? Well, if you remember back, there was the great long protracted drama with Hearn running around all over the world trying to make the fight, and Warren and Bob Arum. This was during that Matchroom Queensberry Cold War period. They were, they were just letting Hearn get on with it, and then once Hearn got the deal pretty much done, the Wilder trilogy fight, I think Wilder went to court, didn't he, and enforced the contract which said that they would have a third fight. So Fury went in that direction, and it was a classic fight. It was a great fight, really great fight. Both guys really kind of covered themselves in glory. And I actually, do you know what? I actually think where Wilder's concerned, that made me respect Wilder far more than his entire WBC reign did. Because against Fury, a man who was, 3 stone heavier in natural weight, or at least 3 stone, maybe 4 stone heavier, You know, he had him on the floor twice. He was fighting his heart out, and he had to absolutely be nailed to the canvas. And he also took Fury to places that Fury, you know, probably didn't want to go. Probably had doubts in his own mind. He had to really fight for that. You know, not box, but fight for that victory against a man who, although he was smaller, was just inspired that night. And it's just makes you wonder if Wilder would, instead of coming in the late 230s, if he'd come in at, say, 220 maybe, whether he'd have had a better chance of winning. But, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah, I'm digressing. I mean, there was that classic fight, and people kind of forgot that Fury-Joshua was the one that was previously being spoken about at great length. Since then, of course, Joshua's lost twice to Usyk, and you know the history of it. Fury fought White and Chisora and so on and so forth. So, yeah, it's all late in the day for that fight. But again, I think Fury is a rank underdog against Usyk, and I think AJ starts as a favourite against Dubois. But upsets happen. Would I be astounded if Dubois beat AJ? No, I would not, because he hits hard and he's got guts, and his confidence has never been higher, and he's flying. His last two victories were very good victories, especially the Hrgovic one. Very, very impressive, I thought he was in that. But he was easy to hit at times in that fight, and AJ hits like a truck, as we know. But so does Dubois, you know. And as for Usyk Fury, I think he's an underdog. I make it 70-30 in favour of Usyk. But you never know, do you? So maybe this fight, this Joshua-Fury fight, might just happen. But I would hate for it to happen in the way that Brooke Khan happened, you know, when they were both way over the hill and just collecting one final pension check. But we'll see what happens. So what do you think? Do you think this fight is already dead in the water? Do you think it could be entertaining anyway? Don't forget, the third Ali Fraser fight was one of the greatest heavyweight fights in boxing history, and they were both way past their best at the time. You know, Fraser coming off being knocked out by Foreman, and Ali hadn't looked great, and you know, sometimes two guys who are not at their best can provide a great fight. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments below as usual, and please, thank you for your time. But if you could subscribe to the channel if you're new, that would be a big help for us. And also spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. I much appreciate your time and your support. Looking forward to reading what you've got to say, and I will speak to you later. Bye for now.